time, he refuses to use the protection.
Are you serious?
And I made sure I always reminded him. I said, I ask you to use protection and you're always refusing. He said, I am in his house and I cannot call the shots. I can't tell him what to do in his house. So he called the shots. It's all started in 2018, June, where I used to stay before, because by then I used to live alone. So I was here in Port Harcourt, Nigeria. So where I used to live then, I had my neighbors. There were couples who died 2 years apart. The wife died 2016. The husband died 2017. They were my neighbors and they had kids. They had a 14-year-old daughter and a 7-year-old son. So after the wife died, the man was actually going through a lot. And then the next year, he also died. The man has a son before he got married to his wife, before the 2 other children. So the kids were left with the stepbrother. So after the both parents had died, both family, from the mother and the father, rejected these 2 children. They said they didn't want to have anything to do with them. So the children were left with the stepbrother, who actually was not doing well. He did not have a good source of income for himself. And being that we were neighbors and me both some other neighbors, so we suggested that, okay, the girl is old enough to live with someone. Maybe because she was yet to finish her senior secondary as of then. So we kind of suggested, isn't it okay you take your sister to live with someone? Maybe they can send her to school or pay her if they wouldn't want her to be going to school in their house, which everyone agreed. And then there's this agent in that area, in LL1, where we used to stay in Port Harcourt. We contacted her. She took the girl to a woman. The woman was married. She had a son. So the day me, the stepbrother, one other of our neighbor, and the woman, the agent, we took the girl to this woman's house. Before then, this children was having some kind of skin rashes all over their body. We actually did not know what was the cause. So we just thought it was normal skin rashes that anybody would have. So when we got to the woman's house, I remember she asked, what is this rashes on her skin? We said we didn't know. So she made us know that anytime she takes someone to help her in the house, she normally takes them for tests in case they had any sickness or whatsoever. We said it was fine. We left her house and we left the girl with her. A week later, she called us to tell us that she called the stepbrother to tell him that, are you aware that your sister is HIV positive? So the stepbrother came to tell all of us, the neighbors, and we were shocked, being that all this while, the 7-year-old, the little boy, was living with us, the neighbors. So anybody that has food, you give it to the child. You have anything to help out, you give it to the child. So we became scared as normal human. We became scared. So everybody started distancing themselves. So we're like, okay, if your sister is actually HIV positive, that means that's the same thing that is wrong with your brother, because the boy's own was actually worse. He was having pores all over his body, his head, there was sore everywhere. If he scratched it, blood would be coming out. So we became distant. Yes. So he took him for a test at Obio Cottage. This was in June 2018.
What year? 2018, okay.
2018. And it was confirmed that the boy was also HIV positive, which was already developing to AIDS.
Yeah.
So the stepbrother brought the boy back and told us, honestly, everybody became distant. If you have something, you just push it in a plate, give it to the boy. Nobody wanted him entering their house anymore, we were humans. So the brother himself felt isolated because of that and everything. So one morning, it was on a Friday, he just woke up. We saw him dressing up the brother and the little boy and took him out. We're like, Godwin, where are you taking your brother to? He said it's not our business, and we didn't ask again. And we noticed that he came back that very day without the brother. And everybody were like, where is your brother? Where is your brother? He didn't say anything. He didn't tell any of us. Okay, we forgot about it now and move on with our lives. Now, the woman said, according to what the woman said, she is HIV positive, but it wasn't a death sentence. That she would take her to the hospital, get her treated, and get her drugs. So we shouldn't worry about the girl. We should be worried about the boy, which was okay. So everybody moved on with their lives. A week later, on a Tuesday, I just came back from work. It was in the morning, around 11-12 in the morning. And then everybody were just outside, me and my neighbors. And then we saw two people walk into the compound, and the boy was following them. So we were shocked. We were like, oh, this boy is back. And who are these people? So they came. And he actually brought the people that he came with to where we were all sitting. And they started asking, do you people know this boy? We say, yes, they used to stay here. You know the story now. So they now told us they were police officers. It was a man and a woman. They are police officers. This boy was abandoned in OPM church at Alu. According to the boy, he was abandoned.
What is full meaning of OPM?
Omega Power Ministry.
At which branch?
The headquarters at Alu.
In Port Harcourt.
Yes, Port Harcourt. Alu, Port Harcourt, yes. So that according to the boy, he was brought there by his stepbrother who asked him to wait for him, but never came back. So now that's why they asked this boy where he used to stay. Thank God the boy was able to find out, tell them the name of where they used to stay before, and they brought him there. It's because they, as the police, that the church brought the boy to report the case at the police station, and that the church has been asking they take the boy to orphanage, which they have done, and the boy was rejected because of the way his body, physical body was, his skin and everything. The boy was rejected, different in orphanage. So now that the OPM General Overseer wants to treat the boy by name, Apostle Chibuzor Chinyere.
Okay.
Wants to treat the boy in the hospital. He wants to get the boy admitted and pay for his hospital bill in University Port Harcourt, UPTH, Port Harcourt, University of Teaching Hospital in Port Harcourt. But the hospital does not provide food for the patient. So they are here because they are looking for the brother he talked about, so he can be bringing food for the boy. We said, okay, no wonder that after the day he took this boy out and came back, we haven't set our eyes on him, and we don't know where he is. They waited, we brought out some contacts we knew, started calling, his line wasn't going. So they said, anyway, since this is where the brother used to stay, that they have also been exposed to the sickness, because since the boy has been rejected in different orphanages, that the boy has been sleeping in the police station. So they will be leaving the boy there in the compound. So whenever the brother comes back, he should take care of him. And this boy was coughing all this while blood would be coming out of his mouth, his nose, everywhere he was scratching. I felt pity for the boy because he could have been my younger brother. So I was like, and I said, okay, excuse me, ma, what if somebody that's not related to this child in anywhere wants to be bringing food for him, since food was the issue? Who will be bringing food for him? Who wants to be bringing the food for him in the hospital? Will they accept? They said yes. Do I want to do it? I say yes, I can do it. They never told me anything about payment or providing the food. So they said, okay, if I can do it, I should follow them. I followed them in because they came with a taxi. I followed them with the child and the two police officers. We went back to the police station at Alu, River State. When we got to the police station, I met with the DPO, who also asked me how I knew the boy. And I told him what I know. We are not related, but the parents were my neighbors, but they are late. So the DPO said he would put a call to the General Overseer, which he did. And the General Overseer requested to speak with me on the phone. I've never been to his...
Who's General Overseer that wants to speak with you?
The General Overseer, the pastor himself, Apostle Chibuzor Chinyere.
Okay.
He requested to speak with me on the phone. Before now, I've never been to his church. I only hear about the good things he does. I'm not his member. I've never been there before. So I just spoke to him over the phone and he asked me how I knew the boy and I explained. He said, okay, he will get back to us. He dropped the call. Like some minutes later, he sent a number to the DPO that the DPO should give me the number and attach a police officer with me to take the boy to Rivers State Secretariat, that he had made some call and somebody would take the boy from us there. We got to Rivers State Secretariat and we called this number several times. Nobody was speaking. So we got tired, me and the police officer. When we were about going back, the number called back and said, who are you? And we explained. The person said he had already left his office. We should take the boy to orphanage in Borokri, Port Harcourt, which we did that same day. When we got to the orphanage, the boy was rejected in front of us.
Oh my God.
We dropped the boy and wanted to leave. The orphanage was locked. They locked the gates and said we would not go out except we go with the boy. We started called the DPO and everything. So at that point, I got angry and I said, I don't want to do it again because the sickness was increasing. Whatever was happening to him was getting worse. I was in the same cab with him. He keeps coughing and he was already having tuberculosis and different stuff. So he was coughing and I was there with him. I was being exposed. So I said, my only reason for coming was to be bringing food to him in the hospital.
Absolutely.
I did not sign up for taking him to orphanages and other places. I don't want to do it again because if in the middle of this thing, this boy died, I'll be held responsible because I'm the only one currently that might know few people that knows the boy. I said I didn't want to do it again. We came back to the police station and I left. This was on a Saturday. I left. Then breaking the next day, the Sunday, the DPO kept calling me. I said, sir, I don't want to do this thing again. He said, no, that the pastor has been calling him to bring me back. To do everything. But
DPO from where calling you? Which of the DPOs?
The DPO at Alu
Police station. Do you know his name? By name who?
Ajayi Kayode.
Okay.
Yes. So he kept calling me.
Which year?
That he had told.
Is this December 2018?
Yes, this is 2018. This was all in June 2018. So he said, the general overseer said he should bring me back. So I also had to open up to my neighbors and I told them, look at what is going on with this child. And they're like, since they are now the one calling you back and you've already said you want to do it, go and hear the man out now and see how it will be. So I came back. And then when I came back, I was taken to his church, the headquarters, for the first time. I'm on a call, okay. Go and play.
So I want to show his face.
Sorry,
don't show his face.
So
he's the child, right? He's the child.
Yes, it's the one.
Don't show his face.
Okay. Sorry. She'll make it cool. I mean, please make it cool. So that was how I was taken to his church for the first time. We met him in the church. And then he asked me, how do you know the boy? I said, this is how I know him. He said, okay, fine. What are you doing? I said, I'm working for somebody.
Who is asking you?
The pastor himself, Apostle Chibuzor.
Okay.
Apostle Chibuzor. So he said, okay, how much are you being paid? Like I said, then I was working Saturday, Sunday for a doctor in UPTH. I worked in her house.
By name who?
I think I can't remember her name, but I know her address and everything.
Okay.
Yes. So
you were working as what?
I was working as I cook for her. I also clean her house.
Okay.
Yes. So I said, I'm doing this work Saturday, Sunday for this woman, and she pays me 12,000. Mondays to Fridays, I also do my business. I used to sell tea. There's this Chinese tea. I sell it for truck drivers at Slaughter in Port Harcourt. Okay, I told him this is what I do. He now said, okay, what if I said, that means where do you stay? I said I stay in Elelewo. Now, Elelewo and where the hospital is very far apart. So he said, where you're staying is very far. Sorry, sir. My son. Did I stop that? Come on. Close my door. Lock it. Close my door. So he now said, what if I get you an accommodation close to the hospital and I'll be paying you 20,000? Will you be taking care of the child full time? Truth be told, at the same time, I was having accommodation problems. So him offering me an accommodation came as a miracle, which I appreciated and I accepted. I said, okay, sir, that will be okay. Thank you very much. So now, that was, and then he now said he will also be giving 20,000 for the child's upkeep and feeding. I said, okay, which he always did. So we left his office that day. The next day, the boy was taken to the hospital, though there were still some challenges that came up. We left, came back on a Tuesday, and the boy was admitted. He gave out money. The boy was admitted. Treatment started.
Okay, sir. Some challenges. What do you mean by challenges? Challenges that came up.
Okay. After meeting him on Sunday, he said by Monday I should take the boy to UPTH. That he has called the MD of the hospital. Oh, so when I get to the hospital, I should also call the MD. He sent me the number. I should also call the MD and let the boy be taken care of, be treated. At the end of the day, when the boy is discharged, he will clear the bill. So I took the boy to the hospital on Monday without any money. They didn't give me any money for the hospital bills. So when I got there after the consultation and everything, which was towards evening, I got to find out that hospital doesn't work like that. That was my first time in the hospital.
Right.
It doesn't work like that. So I had to come back with the boy.
Yeah. Okay.
I came back with the boy. I told the DPO, look at what they said, that I would need money for this boy to be admitted, get some things ready for the doctors and everything. And the DPO called him. He said, okay, but he called the MD. The DPO told him the MD did not answer her call. So he now instructed that the DPO should send a policewoman to his accountant to go and get money for me to take to the hospital, which the DPO did. So they went to his accountant and got money, and then they brought it back. By Tuesday, I took the boy back to the hospital, and he was finally admitted. The treatment started. I was always there. I would go there in the morning because the boy's case was very critical, so he was being isolated. So most of the time, the doctors didn't want me in the room where the boy was, except they were there. So they would just tell me what to do. You have to wear your gloves, your nose masks and everything before you get inside there. So most times, if they need me to go and run a test, they will get his sample. They will ask me to wait outside. They will go get his sample, bring it out, and I take it to the lab, pay the money and stuff like that. So the boy spent about a month and 2 weeks, or about 2 months in the hospital. He paid hugely for it.
Survived. The boy survived, right?
Yes, he survived. He was okay. He was treated.
What's the name of this boy?
Ekemini Christopher.
Okay, thank you. How old is he?
I think he should be about 13, 14 right now.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. So that was it. Truth be told, he spent money in that hospital. He did a lot for the child, took care of him. The boy wasn't lacking and everything. So now, forward to when the boy was discharged, there came the question, where is he going to stay? The doctor started asking, where is the child going to stay? I said, I'm not aware of that. I'll get back to the people taking care of him, because at some point the hospital were aware that the boy is being taken care of by OPM pastor. So I said I will get back to them, and I came back, went to the DPO. I said, sir, the boy is about to be discharged and they're asking where he will be staying and who he will be staying with. And the DPO called the pastor and he said the boy should come and stay with me. The accommodation I was given wasn't a flat.
Okay, it wasn't a step. You were given accommodation by the pastor?
Yes, by the pastor.
Where?
In Alu, River State.
Okay.
It was close to the hospital.
Okay.
Now, the accommodation I was given was not a flat. It was not a set con, it was a one room. And then he asked that the boy should come and stay with me. I was scared and I told the DPO, I don't think I can do something like this. And the DPO said he has tried talking to him that it wasn't okay. And he kept saying the boy should stay with me, that I'm the one taking care of him. At some point I said, fine, okay. I went back to the doctors and I told them about it. They frowned at it, but then they were like, it's actually not a death sentence. It doesn't mean you contact it. You just have to be careful. So they started telling me the things to do and the things not to do. At the end of the day, the boy was discharged and he came to stay with me in that house. I was taking care of him. He was still paying me. He was sending money for the boy's upkeep and everything. Now remember, the boy's sister is somewhere. So I thought about it. The person she is staying with might or might not be guaranteed. Tomorrow she might get angry and decide to throw the boy out. So I went to the DPO. I said, okay, sir, please, can you help me talk to the pastor if he can also take care of the boy's sister? So the DPO said that was a good idea. So the DPO reached out to him, which he accepted. Yes, dear. Tea and bread. What? Tell her I said, let her cook it for you. So he accepted that the boy should be brought, that the girl should be brought. I contacted the agent that took her there. I said, please, can you help me call that woman that I would like to take the girl back. I wouldn't want the girl staying with her again. Just as I was thinking, when the agent reached out to the woman, she got angry and everything, provoked the girl's retroviral drugs. She took it away from her and said she got it with her money and everything. So the girl came out. I also told the DPO everything that happened. Apostle still gave money for the girl to be taken to the hospital, but she was not admitted because hers was not critical. Don't look. She'll do it. Stop. Amen. Please do it, please. Okay, go. Okay. So he gave money. The girl, we went to the hospital, got her drugs, did some tests and everything. The both of them were living with me in that house. We had neighbors. Everybody can always go and verify. I never treated them for one day badly. We lived like they were my younger ones. And throughout our stay for 1 year and in that compound till we left, nobody knew that they were HIV positive. Because they get to live with other children, play around and everything. So fast forward to when everything happened in June, July, August. I think July was when the boy was discharged. August, September. I was in the house. The medical director of OPM then.
By name who?
Dr. Mrs. Ndibo. Is Ndibo. She works in OPM medical department. When this boy was in the hospital, she used to visit the boy. So this woman called me and said, Lovett, where are you? I said, Ma, I'm in the house. She said, okay, get ready and take a taxi. Meet me in so place. Apostle called me and said I should bring you and the children to his house.
To Apostle's house?
To Apostle's house.
Okay.
So that was how I got to his house for the very first day.
Apostle by name?
Apostle by name, Apostle Chibuzor Chinyere.
Okay.
So we went to his house and he took us out for shopping. He said he wanted to buy things for the boy. Took him out, bought him whatever he wanted that day. So that wasn't the first time. He kept taking him out. He did a lot. They were registered in school. They started attending school. So at some point, when the students started going to school, I was always alone in the house. So I asked if I could get a job to do while the children are in school, since I wasn't good at always staying in the house. So they said I can join the sanitation department in church, which I did. I joined and I go to work every day. I wasn't being paid separately. It was still the same 20,000, so I was working there. So many times he would call, because at some point when we started going to his house, he would take us out, bring us back, and we'll go back to our own house. So at some point he got my number. So there was a day.
How did you get your number?
He asked the DPO. I was in the house, my own house, the house we were staying. The DPO called me and said, Lovett, Daddy just called me now, which is Apostle Chibuzor, and said I should send him your number. I have sent it to him, so be expecting his call. He said he's going to call you.
Okay.
And at the same time, he called. Since I was expecting his call already, so when the call came, I knew it was him. But I did not have his number before now. So he called. I picked up the phone. Hello, Daddy. I was excited, at least the normal child would feel. So he was like, where are you? I said, Daddy, I'm in the house. Because that's what everybody knows him as. We all call him Daddy. So he said, okay, get a taxi, bring the children. All of you should come to my house. I want to take all of you for shopping. There are other children in my house too. So we got to his house and he took us out for shopping. I wasn't the only one. There were other children. There were plenty. There were much that day. I think about 15, 16 of us. He took everybody out, went to the eateries, the shopping, and everywhere, bought us things. So because we went to a lot of places that particular day, we came back very late. And when we are coming back, we always get to his house first before everybody would dispatch to their different houses. So when we came back that day, it was late. And he said he cannot start telling his driver to go and drop all of us, that it was late. So we can sleep over till the next day, we can go in the morning. So we slept over.
He said that by himself?
Yes, he said that himself.
Okay.
So the next morning, that all the children, everybody that were there that day, so we slept over. The next day, what I had in mind was that the next day everybody would just wake up, carry whatever they bought for you, and start going to your house. But then before we woke up, they called us to come and eat. That food was ready. We went to eat. He came down to eat with us, which is something very good about him. He doesn't select, or this one is this, or I can't eat with this. No, he doesn't do that. He came down to eat with us, which actually made us happy. So while everybody were eating, we're also discussing and talking, everybody were laughing. So I think a particular child actually asked him and said, so Daddy, you stay in this big house, only you? He said, yes, now it's only me that is staying, or you want to come and stay? The child was like, yes, nah, I would like to come and stay. So it was just a normal talk everybody were talking about. So he was like, okay, if you people want to stay, you can come and stay.
Okay, so he lives alone?
Yes.
What about his kids?
Outside his workers.
What about his kids?
He has a daughter with his wife, and the child is in Canada with his wife.
Oh, the wife lives in Canada while he lives alone in the Port Harcourt.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
How many rooms is he staying?
I think it's about a 7. It's like a mansion, about 7 bed or 8.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes. So he now said, if you people want to stay, you can stay. That was how staying in his house started.
Okay.
So at that point, him asking us to stay in his house, I don't think there was anybody that would have rejected it.
Right.
Because we all saw him. He was the father every child would have wanted to have. Every child would want to have him as a father. He was good. He would provide for you, and you would not lack around him. So we all accepted. We said okay, and we were excited and happy. Yes. Sorry, go and tell him to do it for you. Okay? So that was it. We started staying in his house. He was like, okay, when you're done eating, the driver can take you to your different houses. You just get 1 or 2 things. That was it. So we came back and started staying there. This was around October, November in 2018.
2018, okay.
Yes. So we go to church with him, come back from church with him. You're living in his house. You cannot just carelessly walk out of the gates. He has to be aware you are leaving. The securities will always confirm from him before you're permitted to leave the gates.
Okay.
So we were always inside. If anybody wanted something, he will give someone money. You go with the driver to go buy it and come back.
Okay.
So that was it. And then while we were still there, there was a day I went to church and I met this guy by name Chinedu Nweke. So Chinedu, normally he's an usher in the church. So I've known him for a while after I started attending the church. Sometimes we just greet. So this particular day, he actually walked up to me and like greeted me. So we just talked, and then it was like he has been seeing me all this while, and he actually liked me or something. I was like, I just laughed because to me it was funny. I was like, okay, no problem. So he asked for my contact to him. So we started talking. After a while,
network.
He said he liked me and he would want to marry me. I told him that very day, no, please don't talk about marriage. I stay in daddy's house and daddy has already promised to send me to school. So if you're talking about marriage, you have to wait. Maybe when I'm back from school or whatever, then we can talk about marriage, not now. He now say, but that doesn't stop us from being friends. I say, okay, if it is friends you want, no problem. He said he can also support me while I'm in school. So I said, fine, we can just be friends. And that was it. So we talk, most times we talk on the phone. Then if I come to church, we just see, and that was it. So towards this December, the Christmas and everything, I was supposed to write my WAEC, which Apostle, the pastor, said when the registration started, I should meet the church welfare to register me for WAEC, which I went to them, but I did not get any response. As at this time, Apostle was outside the country. It's not like I did not have his number to call him, but I had so much respect for him, so I never see myself calling him for whatever reason. So I was not able to call him, and I did not. But I went to welfare. They asked me to go to the school I want to register and bring the bill, which I did, but they never responded to me, and I let it be. After the Christmas, January, Apostle was back to Nigeria and asked that we come back. This was towards November, December that he traveled.
He came back when?
I think he came back that same December.
Okay.
Towards Christmas. Yes, towards Christmas.
Okay.
So when he came back, he called all of us. We can always come back to his house. So now, you see, during the period he traveled, I missed registering for WAEC and it was closed already. So the normal human being, I was just like, okay, if I couldn't get the school, because I know that missing to register for WAEC, that means to take it another 1 year before you can get it. And even if you're applying for school outside the country, you cannot do it without WAEC.
Right.
Okay, so I was like, people still get married and still go to school. Okay, since I missed the WAEC, okay, maybe I can just tell this guy, if he's actually serious, he can go ahead with the marriage. So after the Christmas, I told this to the guy. I also told Apostle Chibuzor about this guy. This was in January 20.
We network issue. Let's wait for her to reconnect.
19.
Okay.
Sorry, the call came into my phone, so I dropped it.
Okay. 2019 January.
Yes, this was in January 2019. I told Apostle about this guy. He said, wow, that was good. Bring him, let me pray for both of you. I took him to his office. It was on a Sunday in the church. And he prayed for us. He asked him some questions, which the guy answered, and that was it. So this guy had followed me to my place back home. to see my dad. Nothing was paid, nothing was done, but he actually
dad.
Sorry?
So I want to understand, is he a biological dad?
No, he's my grandfather.
Okay, but because he told me you're not fan, right?
Yes, okay. He's my grandfather. He's the one that raised me ever since I was small. Okay. So I see him as my father, yes.
What year did your parents die?
My mom died 2016, January.
Okay.
Yes.
How old were you then?
I think 2016, I should have been about 18 or so. Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes. So he met my dad, collected list. He didn't pay anything. We came back to Port Harcourt, which Apostle was aware. This was in January. So, and meanwhile, throughout this January, I was still living in Apostle's house with other children. We were living there. So, while this guy was busy thinking about the marriage with his people, I was in Apostle's house. We were doing our thing, living our life. Everything was okay. There was no issues. But I think every time, children started increasing because some mothers will come to beg him, please, they have 4 children and they are not well to do, if he can help with 1 or 2. And he doesn't know how to reject. So he's just like, okay, you can let one of your child join the children in my house. So you see, the children started increasing in the house. That were staying in the house. So that's how everything was going. Until towards March, getting to April. There was a day I slept. Everything was okay while we were in his house. He took care of us. We never lacked. He was good. So there was a day everyone had gone to sleep. All of us had gone to sleep. I had also gone to sleep. That particular morning, I woke up I followed him on Facebook as of then. He was my Facebook friend, but there was nothing like chats. We never had a WhatsApp chat or Facebook or whatsoever. Sorry, don't worry. So I woke up one morning, and then when I woke up, I pick up my phone. The normal way you wake up. Sorry. Nothing. So I pick up my phone. The normal way you pick up your phone, put on your data, and then if you've had message over the night, you start seeing it. So I picked up my phone when I woke up that morning, and then I put on my data, and I was getting messages. So a particular message got my attention. This message came with his picture, and it was the same picture as his profile picture then on Facebook.
Who is that?
Apostle Chibuzor.
Okay.
So I was like, could Daddy send me a message in the night? Oh, let me see what it is. So I click on the message. At first, I thought maybe because I know so many people use these pictures for their profile picture. So when I clicked on it, it took me to his page. Then I came back to the message. And what was there was, see me later today, we need to talk. That was the content of the message.
I was like, can you remember the date the message was sent? Is it possible?
I can't remember the date, but this was between March, April 2019.
Okay, was this sent to the same Facebook you're using now or what?
No. That my Facebook account was hacked a long time ago.
Okay.
Yes. So he now sent me that message. So when I saw that message, in my mind I was like, why did he have to send me a message when once it's morning I'll still get to see him and everything? But I didn't think about it that much, and I did not reply to that message. So I just let it be. By morning, when everybody had woken up, freshened up, and everyone gets to see. So normally when the children are done taking their breakfast, they are always with him. So sometimes they are with him in his room. So when I was done with what I was doing that morning, I also went to his room. I greeted him, he answered me, and I was like, Daddy, I didn't hide to say it to him. The children were there, and I said it. Daddy, I saw your message. You said I should see you. I hope I did not do anything wrong. So he actually signaled for me to be quiet.
He did that?
Yes. And inside me, I wasn't a child. So I felt somehow about that. But I still did not want to think much because of who he is. And then he now asked the children, who wants to swim? Everybody were like, me, I want to swim. So he now said, okay, all of you can go and swim.
So there's a swimming pool in his house?
Yes, there's a swimming pool in his house. So I had to join the children and say, me too, I want to swim. Or I joined the children to leave. And he was like, everybody except Lovett.
That's you?
Yes. Sorry. Amen. Go, tell her to give you biscuits. Okay, she'll give it to you. Okay. So he was like, everybody except Lovett. And I stayed back. At some point, I felt scared. And then the children left. He asked me to sit. At this point, it was just me and him in his room. I felt somehow, and I asked him, Daddy, this one is only me and you. I hope nothing is wrong, or did I do anything wrong? He was like, no, don't be scared. So he asked me to sit, and I did. He asked me to switch off my phone. I was still feeling somehow because I wasn't understanding. Like, before that day, there has never been any sign whatsoever that I have never behaved in any bad way whatsoever to him in the house. So, to me, I felt somehow, but then I had to sit. And then he was just looking at me. I was like, Daddy, why are you looking at me? Is there a problem? Did I do anything wrong? He said no, that he wanted to talk to me. I said, okay. He now started talking. He was saying different things in parable, saying different things. I now said, because the way more he was talking, I was feeling scared. I was not scared, not like maybe I haven't heard those words before. I was scared because it was coming from him.
From words like what? Can you just example?
Okay. He said, the first thing he said was that he wants to talk to me, but that he wants to make an instance. That, let us say that I always eat banana. Whenever I am done eating, I always eat. They will give me banana to eat. So after a while, they stopped giving me this banana. So one day, after so many years, I now see this banana from somebody and I want to eat it. But I cannot buy this banana. But I really want this banana. That's, if I find myself in such situation, that what will I do?
Who is saying this thing?
Yes. Dada, stop that, please. He said, if I find myself in such situation, what will I do?
Who is saying this?
Apostle Chibuzor.
Okay.
I said,
and you were the only one there?
It was just me and him in the room.
In his private room?
Sorry?
His bedroom?
Yes, in his bedroom.
Okay.
In his bedroom. Come stay with Auntie Mem, okay? Okay. So, this was in his bedroom. And I was like, I told him, if I was in that situation, I've seen the banana I want to eat, but I cannot buy it. I'll simply ask the person that is with banana to give it to me. He now said, okay, that what if it will be very, very difficult for that person to give it to me, or the person might reject me, but I really want it. I said, I just have to beg first. Since I can't buy it, I just have to beg first. So he kept asking.
How old were you then?
I think I was 18 then.
18 years, okay.
Yes. So I kept asking. He kept asking questions based on it. So at some point, I was getting frustrated because I did not want to assume where he was going to. I now asked him, I said, Daddy, please, the question is too much. Tell me what it is. Like, is there something you want to say you're not able to say, or something? Just say it. Let me hear. He now said, okay, that he wants me to do something for him. This thing, it will be very difficult for me to do it, but he knows that if I want to do it, I can do it. So at that point, he was not shifting somewhere else. I was like, Daddy, I've not seen you beg somebody for help before. So if you ever need help, I don't think anybody will reject you from giving you help, because you've always helped everybody. He now said, okay, now that's okay. Let him tell me what it is. What if he asks me to go into a relationship with him? That what will I say? At that point, my assumption, everything that was in my head came to the conclusion and everything. I was confused. I didn't know what to answer, not because of what he said, but because it was coming from him. I was already sweating. There was AC in the room, but I was sweating and I was scared at the same time. So I was like, I don't understand. But Daddy, there is somebody I want to get married to, and you're aware. So why are you actually asking me to do something like this? Why will you ask me to do something like this? What will I tell him? He said you don't have to tell him. He doesn't have to know. You just keep it between us. I was like, Even if you're asking me to go into a relationship with you, what kind of relationship exactly? He said I should come on, I should stop talking like I'm a child. Why am I talking like I don't know what I said, no, I don't want to assume. You have to say what you want. So what kind of a relationship are you talking about? He said, okay, since I want him to say it, that he is actually looking for a sexual relationship. I said, Daddy, you're a pastor. Yes.
By name?
I said, Daddy, Apostle Chibuzor.
Okay, allegedly.
Yes.
Okay.
He said that after all, he's a man. He has flesh and blood running in his vein. In my head.
He was saying this to you?
Yes. In my head, I was trying to comprehend like where this whole idea or whatever it was coming from. So I told him, I said, what if I say no? What if I say no? I want to say no. I don't want to do it. He said, just know that you cannot say no. You know me already. I do not take no for an answer. In fact, he got angry at that moment and said, why do you even think you can say no? You can't say no. I cannot take no for an answer. Who do you even think you are to want to say no to me? People, you do know how many ladies that are at my beck and calls. But it's just because I can't go to outside to start doing nonsense. I cannot do this because of who I am. This one, a general overseer. I'm bringing myself down to ask you for something like this, and you're saying no. Who do you think you are? You cannot say no. I was like, wow. But I still want to know, what if I say no? What will come with it? He said, in that case, be ready to leave my house. And if you're leaving my house, don't think that I will let you go just like that. Because I know people will start asking you, because people know I like you very well and that you are my daughter. So if you leave my house without you committing any crime, people will start asking questions. And I know you will talk. So if you leave my house, don't think I will just let you go like that. To me, that was a threat. It was a threat to me.
Allegedly. If it's what he said is a threat, yes.
Yes. So I don't know if I should say I thought about this whole thing. I could not think about it. I just told him that, please, that I wanted to sleep. This thing was on a Saturday evening. I told him, please, I needed to sleep. I've heard you and I will think about it.
I remember the month.
Sorry?
I remember the month and the year.
This was in 2019, between March and April.
Okay.
Yes. I left his room that day. He was calling me back and I left his room. I went to my room where we do sleep with other children. I couldn't think. I don't know, I did not know what to do at that point and I was confused.
No.
I tried my best to avoid him throughout that day. So the next day, we all went to church. I was in church and he was on the altar preaching. I wasn't seeing him. Everything I was saying was the things he was saying into my head. They keep sounding, they keep coming back, but I was just on my own. I was just there. Nobody knew what I was going through. We came back to the house that Sunday. I tried my possible best to avoid him, and then on Monday he sent for me.
Oh no.
On Monday he sent for me. That the children came, Daddy, Auntie Lovett, Daddy's calling you. What will I tell the children? If I tell them to go and tell him that I'm not coming, what will I be explaining to them? So I just stood up and I went to meet him. He was like, are you still thinking? I'm sure you've made up your mind about this whole thing, that he doesn't know what I'm thinking about. After all, it's not like I'm a virgin. That's after all, that if I just agree, whatever I wanted, he will give me. Is it house? What is it that he cannot give me? Money. I'm planning for my wedding. He was going to give me the best wedding in Port Harcourt. Was going to do this. He started saying so many things. I was just looking at him. When he finished talking, I asked him, I said, I am aware that if I agree to this, it is going to be a hidden relationship, right? He said, yes. I said, fine. In this situation, what if I get pregnant? He said, is he a child? That he won't let me get pregnant. I said, it's not about being a child. Pregnancy can happen. So if you're saying you won't let me, it's the same thing that you have to use protection. Whatever will happen, if at all anything will happen. He said, but how do I expect him to go and get protection? What will he tell people he wants to use it for? Imagine if him going outside. I said, if that is the case, I will buy it for you. I asked him for money. He gave me 10,000 naira cash that day. And then I went out. I went to everyday supermarket and I bought him a pack of Durex. Yes.
Durex, that's
came back to the house. Yes, came back to the house, gave it to him. He was just looking at me and I left. So the next day, he was actually still asking. I have thought about the whole thing because honestly, it's not like I haven't been in a relationship, but someone like him, who he is, the threat, the fear, I was not aware if he had a dirty lifestyle I did not know before now. So I did not know what to be scared of. I didn't know, like, my head was full. So when people are asking, did he rape you? So it wasn't a rape. So when I thought about this whole thing, I said, okay. I told him, fine, if this is what you want, no problem. But on one condition, I don't ever want to get pregnant. He said he has heard me. I should stop preaching. That do I even see him like someone who will not be able to take care of his child if anybody get pregnant for him? He said, okay, thank God you're the one saying this. So the relationship started. It wasn't once, it wasn't twice. He kept demanding for sex.
So he had his way.
Yes, he had his way. And at each single time, he refuses to use the protection.
Are you serious?
And I made sure I always reminded him. I said, I ask you to use protection and you're always refusing. He said, I am in his house and I cannot call the shots. I can't tell him what to do in his house. So he called the shots and he decides what happened. And I kept telling him, don't get me pregnant and expect me to go for abortion, because I will not. I told him this. He said I should stop preaching. I said, no problem. He kept having his way. Now, this whole thing started in March.
When you say he kept having his way, what do you mean by that?
When I mean that, he kept demanding for sex.
Was he? Yes. Did it happen? Did he sleep with you? Did they have sex with you?
And it happened. Yes, he kept sleeping with me without protection.
Okay.
Yes. So this was between March and April. May, June. Okay, it was in May. This whole thing, I still could not Like the whole when stuff like this are happening, everything just happens so fast. So meanwhile, the guy I was supposed to marry was still planning for the marriage. So I approached Apostle and I told him, I said, please, you are the general overseer of OPM and I'm having an affair with you. And the person who wants to marry me is an usher in the church. I don't think I can do this
anymore.
I don't want to put myself in the middle. I don't want to go ahead with this marriage whatsoever. At least let me know I'm dealing with one thing.
Yes.
I don't want to go ahead with the marriage. He said, no, if you go ahead with the marriage, what if the guy did not agree? What if people start suspecting? I said, suspect what? I don't want to go ahead with the marriage. This guy is an usher in your church. What do you think? So after the whole end of the day, after this whole affair and everything, I get married to this guy and then I'll go to church and I'll be looking at the both of you. I don't want to put myself in this. He refused. So I couldn't keep quiet about it. I went to church that week. I met this guy. I told him, please, I don't want to go ahead with this marriage. I'm calling it off. Yes. The guy fled up and said one man was deceiving me. Somebody wants to take me away from him. He's not going to let me go. He has prayed. God told him and his wife, this and that. He was saying stuff. I left him because he started ranting and was shouting and was talking. I left him. This was in church. So before I knew it, the guy has gone to marriage committee, our assistant pastor, reported to so many people that he doesn't know who is trying to take me away from him because people knew us in the church. So they called me that day in Apostle's office. And Apostle started asking me why I wanted to call off the marriage in front of people. He was not the one asking me why I wanted to call off the marriage. So I just told him, I don't want to marry the guy again. I don't want to go ahead with it. Because I knew at that time I couldn't say anything. So he was now that, I have told you, you have already told me this thing in the house. And I told you, don't worry, go ahead with the marriage. I'll set you up. I'll set the guy up. I'll do this. You will be okay. This one, that. I said that it's not about setting us up. I don't want to marry this guy.
Hold on. Do you want to take your water? Do you want, like, take the water?
No, sir, I'm fine.
Good. Okay, your light is off.
It's getting dark. There's no light.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So I told him, I just don't want to marry.
Is it possible to face towards the window so your face can be shown?
Sorry, sir, you said?
Is it possible to face towards the window so your face can be shown?
Okay.
Okay, good.
So
Beautiful.
I told him I don't want to go ahead with this marriage. He now said, in front of people were there in his office. He now said, I shouldn't worry about it. I'm just a child. That love grows. So when we get married after a while, that love will grow. I said, it's not about love. I personally do not want this marriage again. He refused and I was objecting to it. So people started saying that why am I being disobedient? Why am I disobeying Apostle? That I'm ungrateful. Apostle picked me up, brought me up, and now Apostle is talking and I cannot obey him. The whole people in the church started saying I was ungrateful, I was a riffraff, I was a rat to even stand in front of Apostle and disobey him and stuff like that. And I left the office. That meeting was closed. We came back to the house. He would like that he's sorry, that he saw the way people were talking to me, that he's sorry. I didn't answer him. That wasn't it. He kept asking for the sex. So after that day in church, I kept saying it, I don't want to marry this guy. His sisters, his workers, everyone in the compound that time, even in church, knew that Lover said she did not want to marry, but Daddy was asking her to marry. Now, the problem is nobody knew what I was actually going through. Nobody knew what was the problem. And I couldn't have told anybody. Okay, imagine now, this whole story is out. People still don't want to believe. So imagine if I had said it then, who would have believed me?
Right.
Nobody would have believed me. So I just kept quiet. He started paying for stuff for the marriage. He started doing this, that. So after a point, I told him, if I ever go ahead with this marriage, I'm doing it to please you and nothing more. He said he knew. So I met this guy. After I had told this guy severally, I don't want this marriage. So I called this guy. I said, please, can you come to Apostle's house? I want to see you. The guy came to his house. And I told him, I said, I don't want to marry you. Please. I might not be able to tell you the problem or what the issue is. But if you can help me and forget about this whole marriage of a thing, maybe later in the future, I will tell you what the problem is, but not right away.
Were you pregnant there that time? You were telling him?
No, as of this time, this was around May, June. I was not pregnant.
Okay.
So this guy still refused. So at that point, I got angry and I told him, if I go ahead with this marriage, it is not because I love you. It's not because I want to marry you. I'm going ahead with this marriage because I'm just trying to please Apostle. I said this to the guy. He was just shaking his head. And then I still went ahead to tell him that even after this marriage, whatever you see in this marriage, you will take it. He said, yes, he will take it. I said, fine. Say you want marriage. Oh yeah, let us go. And that was it. I never said anything. I know so many people, his sisters tried to talk to him, tried to talk to Apostle to cancel the marriage. He refused. So the marriage was fixed 20th July. The wedding was fixed 20th July 2019. He paid for everything.
Who paid?
We did. Even while the wedding preparation was still going on, he was still demanding for sex.
The Apostle or the husband?
Yes. No, not. I'd never even visited the guy.
So you didn't have any premarital sex with the guy before marriage?
Never. No.
Okay.
Not anyone at all. I did not visit him. The only time I visited him was when we were planning for this marriage and his mother came around.
Okay.
So he called that his mother was around. So to fulfill all righteousness now, I had to go and see his mother.
Right.
I went. I greeted the woman. I spent some time and then I left.
Right.
Yes. Now, if somebody would say, who knows if you people actually did anything? Now, this guy was living in a self-contained. So a self-contained is just the room, toilet, and kitchen. So the mother was there. And when I was done seeing the mother, I left back to Apostle's house. And he was aware I went to see the guy's mother. So now, the wedding was fixed 20th July. Everything was done. Fast forward to the wedding. We all went for the wedding. I wasn't happy. Normally, the OPM church that I know, on the wedding morning, they will conduct a pregnancy test for all the bride, because most of the time they do wedding 5-10 people at a time. So I don't know, I wouldn't say, and I don't want to assume. That very morning on that wedding day, a pregnancy test was not conducted. So we went ahead with the wedding on the 20th of July and we came back. And I was like, it's actually a month loss and I haven't seen my period. So the next day was a Sunday. I went to church. Now the thing is this, my next period was supposed to be 20th of July. And 20th was my wedding. And there was nothing. So the next day was on a Sunday, 21st. I went to church, 1 p.m, nothing. So I actually knew something is actually wrong. So I went to the church medical department. I have a friend that worked there. Her name is Love.
Love who?
Yes.
Love who?
I asked her, I said, please, if people have a test strip. She said,
Love.
yes.
Love.
I said, okay, can you give me one? She did.
Hold on, what's her full name?
Love Godwin Ihotu.
Okay. What is her position in this?
Yes. She was a nurse there. She was a nurse in the medical department there. Yes. So I got the test strip and I went to do the pregnancy test. Now the wedding was yesterday, Saturday. The next day was the Sunday, which I did this test, and it was in the church, and it came out positive. And I was shocked because I know I never had anything to do with that guy until the wedding night.
Did they give you a result of the test?
The test was a urine pregnancy test.
Yes. Did they give you a result like after the test?
No, I said I did it myself.
Okay, I see.
Yes, it was a test strip. It was a test strip. I did myself. So I left that day. The next morning, I went to the hospital. I called him. I told him I was coming to his house. He said, okay. Because I told him there was a problem and that I was coming to his house. He said, okay, this was on Monday morning, 22nd. Now, apostle that I know, if you tell him something, you have to prove what you're saying. So that morning before I went to his house, I went to a hospital and I did a pregnancy test with blood. And it still came out positive. I went to his house. And what I did, I told him there was a problem and I gave him the pregnancy results.
You gave it to him directly?
Yes, I gave it to him directly. He saw it and was like, what is this? I said, look at it. He started smiling, but he didn't say anything.
Okay,
he now said, okay, hold on. He now said,
hold on. You went to a lab to do the blood test?
Yes. I went to a lab.
What's the name of the lab?
I actually can't remember, but I have that test result with me.
Okay.
That particular test result, I have it with me, and I still remember the hospital address.
Okay, good.
Yes. So I gave it to him. He saw it and was like, okay, you know what? Hold on, we will talk. Let me attend to my visitors. When he was done, he now called me. It was in his golden parlor. We went to his parlor. And then he started asking me that, what are we going to do? I said, we don't have to do anything. What are we going to do? This was your plan and you've succeeded. So why are you asking me what we are going to do? I told you I won't go for abortion, so you shouldn't even bring that idea. He said, what of your mother-in-law? I said, she's there. She's in the village. And I said, won't she know? I said, I don't know. He now said, but then you have to abort it. I said, I will not.
Say that to you that you
Yes, he said I should abort it. I told him I will not abort it. I made it clear to you, use protection, but you refuse. So this is the consequences of it, and I will not abort the pregnancy. Okay, come to even think of it. Day before yesterday was my wedding, and you're asking me to go for an abortion 2 days later. What if I don't get pregnant again? He said, don't worry. After the abortion, I'll pray for you. I said, I don't want.
He said that to you?
Yes. I said, I don't want. And that was it. I left him because he wanted to make an issue out of it. You have to abort it. What if you now have the baby and people get to know? I said, are you even thinking about my own life at all? What if something happens to me? He said, after all, you're not the first. So many people must still die. Is it you that will not come and die? I didn't answer him. I just walked out and I left him. Came back to my house.
You're not the first. That means allegedly has been doing that.
Probably, as of then. I left his house. That was on a Monday night. I left his house, go back to my house. The day was over. I went to sleep. The next day was 23rd, which was Tuesday. When I woke up in the morning, as usual, picked up my phone, I saw an alert, 100,000 naira. So if I am to trace my bank statement, there will be an alert from him, 100,000 naira to my account. And he also sent me a WhatsApp message. I have sent you money for the abortion, so you can go and do it. I said, okay, I don't hear. I didn't say any other thing to him. Later that day, he was calling me to ask me if I did it. I said, yes. I didn't want to talk to him. I just left. So, and that was it. A week passed, 2 weeks passed. So sometimes I was just thinking, I was like, what's the point of keeping the pregnancy away from him? He has to know. he has to be there. He has to get involved.
Right.
So I reached out to him and I told him I wanted to tell you something. He said, let him guess. I said, okay. He said, you did not have the abortion. I said, fine, you know, I did not do it. And I said, okay, thank God. Since I sent you that money, I've not been at peace. I've not done this. I've not done that. What if it's a baby boy? I was just thinking, have you gone for antenatal? I said, no. He said, okay, I'll send you money. You have to do it. And I started antenatal. He was supportive and all. After the marriage, I left his house. And he continued the sex with someone else.
How do you know about that?
Fine. We were all in the house, and he had already started having sex with other girls before I left the house. So we all know about this.
How did you know? Can you prove to me how you got to know?
We talk to ourselves. We all know ourselves, and we talk to ourselves.
What's the name of the person?
There was Joy Joshua. There was Favor.
And they lived there?
There was other people. Yes. It wasn't one. Yes. So I started attending antenatal and everything. He was supportive. Everything was going on well, and I was with my husband. So there was a day I was having problem. I think I was having abdominal pain, and I actually passed out in the house. My husband took me to the hospital. So it was the doctor in the hospital that confirmed to my husband that I was 7 weeks pregnant. Before now, he wasn't aware I was pregnant. The doctor confirmed in the hospital to my husband I was 7 weeks pregnant. My husband was like, doctor, we just married 2-3 weeks ago. Which one are you saying 7 weeks? And I've not touched her except for the...
Hold on. If this off, if you cut, I'll call again, send you a link, but continue, okay?
Okay, sir. So that was it. After that day, my husband found out I was pregnant. He came back to the house and called the medical woman I said used to visit that boy in hospital and complained to her. Now, this woman did not know what was going on. The woman now called Apostle that, see what Lovette's husband is saying. That she doesn't know what is wrong with all these girls. That could she had gotten pregnant before the wedding or this one. Apostle now said, don't worry, I will settle the both of them. Don't worry, I will settle the both of them. Before the next day, I was back to the house. When I got to the house, Apostle called me. Now, where is my husband? I said, he's in the house. Say, give him phone. He started shouting for him. Why will you go and call Mrs. Ezendibo that your wife is pregnant? Must you tell everybody your problem? Must you tell everybody this? Can't you keep your problem to yourself? And the guy was like, that he just find out, and the thing was a shock to him. So he needed to tell somebody about to say, okay, if your wife does anything, you want to report it to anybody, report it to me. Don't go and start reporting it to someone else. This guy respects him so much and would never, ever think that he was actually behind it. So he told him, okay, daddy. And that was it. The guy never talks. If any issue arises, he will call him. That this is what my wife is doing. Oh, my wife is this. My wife will not allow me to touch her. Or my wife will not do this. You say, don't worry, I will talk to her. You know, she's pregnant. Take it easy with it. Stuff like that. And the guy was buying it. So 3 months into the pregnancy, someone else got pregnant for him.
Someone else?
Yes. Someone else.
By who? What's the name of
Joy Joshua.
Joy Joshua. Where is she now?
She's currently in Lagos.
Did she have the baby?
Yeah, she has the baby.
She's in Lagos with the baby?
Yes.
Do you have her contact?
I don't have her contact, but currently she has been on my DM these few days.
Okay. No, I'm asking you.
No, sir.
All you're telling me now, I'm going to investigate this matter before I move on.
No problem, sir. No problem.
You understand? Because this is the outside of the story you're telling me, right?
Yes. Yes.
Because there's what you call character defamation.
Yes.
Character defamation is when you say something that is not true.
Yes.
So if the person now go to court to sue you, let's have to prove beyond reasonable fact that this is not true.
Okay.
If you have evidence, the person will lose the case. So I think I know he might have intelligent people around him, but they should tell him the truth. So we're not doing chess play here. You understand?
Yes, sir.
Go on. Don't be scared.
So that was it. And then 3 months into the pregnancy, someone else actually got pregnant for him. And there he came and started telling me that someone told him that I was having an affair with my ex-boyfriend when I was in his house. So that the pregnancy is not his own, that he is not responsible. So that I should not come and give him another man's child and expect him to take care of the baby. I was like, where is that information coming from? I was not in any relationship before I came to your house. The person I was with at that time, we had broken up. When I came to your house, I was not with anybody. So where is that kind of information coming from? He said he got it from a reliable source. I said, anyway, that is not my problem because I know it is a lie. He said, okay, I should bear it at the back of my mind that he will not be taking care of me and the pregnancy again until I deliver. And then we go for a DNA test. Beautiful. I said, thank God there is even a DNA test. At least you will get to know the truth. And I actually thought it was a joke. He refused taking responsibility for the pregnancy. You call him, he won't answer you. You send him message, he will not respond. Once in 2 months, he will send you 50,000. You can stay and say, probably by the time I have gotten angry and talk and cry, maybe sometimes after getting angry and begging him, I will now stop getting angry, I will start begging him. That's when he will send money. So at that point, it was as if I was now forcing him to take responsibility. He kept telling me he doesn't want to invest in another man's child. And at that point, after a while, I got into depression. So many things started happening. Throughout the pregnancy, I was always alone. I couldn't tell anybody. Every single time I told him, if you continue with this, I'll be forced to tell somebody about it. He said, if you tell anybody about this thing, he will threaten me. You don't know you're dealing with something that will consume you and your whole family. He will do this, he will do that.
Where was the husband then?
He was still there. He was in the house. But I never told him anything.
Are you still with your husband now?
No. We've not been together for 2 years and some months now.
Why did he leave?
He sent him to Dubai. Because at some point, I threatened him. I said, if you don't take care of this child, I will tell Chinedu the truth and I will tell my family the truth. So he didn't want me telling Chinedu because I told him even after the marriage, I kept telling him I don't want this marriage. I don't want to stay with Chinedu Nweke.
Okay. You still have his contacts?
Yes, I have his contacts.
Okay.
Yes. So after everything, this thing was going on, the pregnancy, the depression, everything I just went through. Even when I was 7 months pregnant, I reached out to him. I needed to go buy things for the pregnancy. He should give me money. He said, how much is the money? I told him 400,000. He said, for what? What if it was a palm wine tapper that got me pregnant? That will I go and ask them to give me 400,000? That the only money he can give me is 100,000, and if I'm not taking it, I should leave it. And I did not take any money from him. While I was in his house, I had a lot of money. So that is the money that has been keeping me. I've been surviving on those money. Outside the ones that once in a while, if he chooses to send you money, he will send it. So fast forward to 2020, March, I had the child. 21st March.
How old is this child now?
He's currently 3 years and 3 months.
Okay.
So fast forward to 2020, March 21st, I had the baby. He requested for a picture. I sent him a picture and he was like, oh, okay, I'm sending you 100,000 now. Go and buy AC. Put inside the room where the baby will be sleeping. I don't want him to sweat till I do DNA test.
Do you still have the account number he's using to send this money?
I have, yes, it's still the same account. On the 21st of March 2020 in the evening.
So if we call for a settlement of account, we are going to see this.
Yes, you will see it. 100,000 on 21st of March.
Okay.
Yes. So.
But the same phone is not the same phone. Is this the same phone you're using right now?
No, it's not the same phone I'm using right now.
Okay.
Yes. So after that day, I still did not answer him. I went to the house. Even after the baby was born, he was actually his very carbon copy. He still refused to take responsibility. The lockdown came. It was during that lockdown you did not get to go out. That was the first time he willingly, after he denied the pregnancy, he willingly sent me money. So probably, let me say, he felt pity for the child and all. So he willingly sent me money. I think he sent about 150,000 in the space of 1 month. He kept sending money. After the lockdown, he went back to his normal way. So sometimes you call him, cry, you need money for this, you need money for that. It will take you like 5-6 days to be requesting for one thing before he will now agree to send. You can call him, okay, please, I need to take this baby to the hospital. I need money. He will say, take the baby to the hospital first. When they finish, I will pay. Which hospital will attend to you without money first? At the end of the day, I remember so many of his members, I will go to them, I will beg them, they should help me and talk to him. He will refuse. Some of them will say, no, they don't want to get involved.
But they are aware that what happened.
They are aware, they know the truth. They are aware. So many of them would tell me they don't want to get involved, they don't want to do this. So many things like that. So, that being said, this thing kept happening. 2021, he sent Chinedu outside. He kept telling me he would do a DNA test. The baby was 1 year, no DNA test. 2 years, no DNA test. He kept promising, nothing came up. We were still beating around the bush. Today, at some point, I told him, you have to do this DNA test. If not, I will tell people about it.